I'm getting ready to cut up an eggplant to roast it, and thought maybe I would talk to you about eggplant for a minute. I talked to some people that have never roasted vegetables before and wanted to make sure everyone is familiar with an eggplant. So this is an eggplant. It's got this purpley black skin, which is actually full of phytonutrients and antioxidants. It's so good for you. So make sure you buy organic or from a local farm, or you can ask the farmer how he grew it, because you want to eat that skin. Now the skin can be a little bit bitter, and so if bitter is one of your things, you don't like bitter foods, then peel it, but just know you are losing a lot of important nutrients. Now this one, you can see it doesn't have any bruises or anything, which is good. It's out of season, and so I'm really glad that we can find one that looks good. I'm going to cut this top off. It feels really rough. Sometimes it's kind of spiky, but we're going to cut the top off and cut the bottom to make it flat, and then I'm just going to cube it so that I can roast it. I will not put this in my broth bag, my freezer bag, to make veggies. And I think I'm going to do long slices instead of discs, just so that it can lay flat. You can see the inside, you see the seeds. Those are edible. There's no reason to remove the seeds. Now when you roast, you want to make sure that all of your pieces are about the same size. Are they going to be identical? No, because this is not flat. And so I'm just going to cube it the best I can, try to make them about the same size. The skin is a little tough to cut through, but not as difficult as a winter squash. I'll lay them down to cut them a little better. Some people do sprinkle salt on them to draw some of the moisture out. Eggplant is pretty spongy. It's kind of got a strange texture. It's a lot like mushrooms. And so if you sprinkle it with salt, that will draw some of the moisture out. And some people say it takes the bitterness out. I'm going to put salt in my dish later. And so I will sprinkle a little bit of salt in a minute, but I'm not going to salt it and let it sit. I have just a regular sheet pan covered with parchment paper so it won't stick to the pan. Now, normally when I roast, I don't put any olive oil on the vegetables. I just chop and throw them on the parchment paper and throw them in the oven. But for today, to show you, I know not everyone cooks like I do. It does give it a little better flavor if you do put the olive oil on there. I will probably be a little lighter than most people, though, with the olive oil. And this is a medium to large sized eggplant. It's going to fill up my sheet pan. And I'll show you, I don't want to crowd the pan, because then I might get a mushy result. Oop, I threw some on the floor. Tough getting through there. Now I'm going to be throwing this into a Greek dish in a minute. After it roasts. I don't normally eat eggplant plain, just roasted. So here is plant. And you see, maybe if I put it on the cutting board, you can see a little better. Maybe not. And I'm going to group it all together to drizzle the olive oil and then spread it out. Drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Sprinkle some salt and pepper on top. And you can do pretty much any vegetable like this. I can't think of a vegetable that I haven't roasted. If you can think of one, then post it in the comments below and let me know what you would not roast, because we like to roast everything. It kind of brings out some sweetness. Kids will eat a lot more vegetables when they're roasted. All right, so I toss them, I spread them out so that they're not overlapping. And now I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. I'm gonna stick this in the oven for 20 minutes and then it'll be ready. Enjoy.